Alex Hormozi, 4 years of podcasting.
For anybody who is trying to do this, it's quantity first. So you just have to put out a lot of stuff. And you do a lot of stuff, not because you're going to get a lot of reach from it, but because you don't know what you're doing. It gives you two things. One is it gives you feedback from the audience because there's going to be some stuff that does better than others. And so it's like, cool, do more of that. And then you start to learn how to increase the quality. That's like doing the more of that good stuff. You start studying the things that are outliers that do a little bit better. And I think the third phase is quality quantity, where you can put out amazing videos and then more of them.
Before anything actually happened. And now he's got like a top 10 podcast every week. And he's exploded on everywhere. Gary V, go look at Wine Library, like some of the worst videos ever of him. I mean, in like essentially like a dungeon evaluating wine. Joe Rogan, his first podcasts are awful. It took him a decade. But look at the people who've won. That's what's going to inspire you to be consistent, because none of them just started winning out of nowhere. All of them will tell you it was just a ton of just trial and error and failed partnerships or getting burned by clients, or just the millions of stories that people are going to hear on podcasts like this that are just going to make you realize nothing is supposed to happen fast. Ellie, who I mentioned earlier, she always says to me when maybe we have a client who's unhappy with something, and I'm like, that just always like destroys me inside. And it's never the end of the world. Everything is fixable. But every time I get super frustrated, she goes, this is entrepreneurship. And if you're going to be in this game, you have to just have the stomach for completely unpredictable things. Like there's a million things that you cannot control. And the only things that you could control are your effort and that consistency. Okay. Intensity. Yeah, I get it. I love it. I love it to be intense, but consistency is what allows everything to happen. If you, like you said, you're an ultra runner, or at least on and off, there's probably a pretty decent training regimen that you got to do. And if you decide like, I'm not going to do any of those long runs that they suggest, then you're going to feel that in mile 20, and your time that you wanted for that marathon is going to be awful. So consistency over intensity is what I would say. And the inspiration is simply look at the people in front of you, look at the people that you want to emulate, look at the people who've inspired you, and ask yourself this. Scroll back to all their content, go to everything you could ever find about them, and you are going to find that they had a beginning just like you. And it's just going to take longer than you think, period. Accept it and you will be okay.
That's funny about the Hormozi thing, because I remember maybe a year ago first seeing their content, and then everything they were putting out was really great. I'm like, I kind of thought, they just hired the right people and started at the right time, and like they had the right little niche. I didn't realize they were creating content for 4 years. I just I knew there was a journey before that, but I didn't know there was like a long 4-year content journey before that. So that's really cool.
Well, and just let me clarify on one thing. Like the content is absolute fire, but in those 4 years, so many things happened, including like starting and buying and selling other companies, and just like really, really just having two great business minds. But during that course, like something Alex likes to say a lot is my expertise became undeniable. Like I just didn't feel like anyone could challenge me. Do you know what I'm saying? So like the business expertise was there, and that just makes the content that much better. Now, one key to someone like that is their ability to simplify and distill really complex subjects to us. Like that's just what makes you like drawn in and sucked in. It's like, wow, he made that simple. But yeah, there's a 4-year journey in there of just creating content, kind of, again, like documenting, not necessarily creating. And then it just about a year ago, like you said, got to this other level where it's just up there with some of the best business minds in the world. Consistency over intensity all the time. Anyone could do a short spurt, right? You can go right now and sprint 100 meters, but 26 miles is way harder, right? So I'm looking at a note right here that I have taped to my computer stand, and it says, it's from my wife. It says, there are no shortcuts to any places worth going. Okay. Consistency is the difference between consistency and intensity is, if I'm like, I'm finally going to get the body I want, that's it. Like I'm turning 40, whatever, like this is the year. I could go to the gym and I could work out like an animal for a few days. And if I come home and I expect to see a 6-pack under all my belly fat or whatever, then it's ridiculous. The time it takes for anything to happen is always over 90 days. I mean, at a bare minimum, but we always say internally on our team, like, whatever changes we want to make, whether it's systems, processes, prices, anything like that, like those effects don't actually happen for like 6 to 12 months. And we know that, and we're okay with that. So nothing, I mean, you could almost never screw anything up by taking your time. And I don't want to, I'm not going to try and sit here and act like as an entrepreneur or that your audience, that they're not chomping at the bit to try and be successful. But if you can just slow down and pause a little bit more, that's going to allow you to be consistent. And consistency in my mind means non-negotiable things, right? So let's just say, like for you, it's absolutely non-negotiable that you are going to have a podcast. You're going to miss a week, right? Like no matter what, you are publishing every week. Like that's it. That's a commitment. It's a non-negotiable. Force yourself to be consistent and you will see the results. But we've had clients before, like episode 7, who are just like, dude, where's my thousands of downloads? I'm like, are you crazy right now? Like, so, one comparison I like to do is